quarterback.
Oh, there's a goal.
Oh, at least I thought he was gonna until he blew it.
The Bears were finally put to rest once again this season as the Vikings reincarnated the Purple People Eaters and stuffed their potent running attack. Minnesota has surged back and not only returned to the playoffs, but officially clinched a first-round bye thanks to the McCaskey machine. If there is any solace for the Bears, you have the pieces to make a playoff run next year, but you need Trubisky to develop if you are to go anywhere near it. And a new coaching staff too, that will work. He actually got fired? Good. It's a meaningless game for both teams. Dallas is out of the playoffs after choking last week away, and the Eagles already clinched home field. Let's just bring out the starters for a quarter to inspire confidence in our team. It did the exact opposite. In fact, you may as well just duck and cover now, as Foles went 4 for 11 with a pick. Now Philadelphians get to be rewarded with endless hot takes on how Nate Sudfeld should start a playoff game because he didn't totally suck. They still scored no points against the team that had nothing to play for. This is truly how you kill any and all optimism in a month. How's EDP holding up?
You sorry-ass son of a bitch-ass motherfucker!
Let him be, guys. Even with his cynical exterior, his hopes and dreams have been obliterated like Carson Wentz's ACL. Jets fans, your season once again went from shocking promise to yet another butt fumble by losing 9 of 11. You may not get one of those sexy QBs in the draft because of it, and your options on offense look wholly uninspiring. I do have good news, though. There is one thing you can always depend on. No, not the Jets kicking you in the dick, it's SeatGeek. It's an app that you could be used to by now, considering all of the no-shows at Jets games this year. It sorts all the tickets available on the net to help you get the best possible deal. It helps you out by color-coding tickets and grading them on a 1 to 100 scale. In New York terms, that's like Bryce Petty to Josh McCown. You can get views of where you're going to be sitting as well. Better yet, if you use the code word TREE on the link below, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Mark Sanchez can eat his heart out. You've got a way to help you get to the playoffs. SeatGeek! It's not real playoffs, but it's close enough. Also, the Patriots have clinched home field advantage, but that was to be expected. I don't want to waste my time on this one. It's a game involving two milquetoast mediocrities doing battle in a meaningless game. Detroit chose to give its fans one last painful fuck you as they obliterated the dumpster fire of a Packers defense and gave them their first losing season in 10 years. Green Bay, you may be down, but there is good news for once. Dom Capers is finally being shown the door and told to fuck off and never return. This technically should have happened last year, but what's another wasted season of Aaron Rodgers going to do to him? As for the Lions, Jim Caldwell, well, he may be gone, he may not. It depends if Martha Ford regains the senility. Turns out justice has been served. For both teams. Ted Thompson is being fired via reassignment. Things are actually happening in Green Bay. The Packers may have well just won the Super Bowl. Is there anyone whose performance this season cost them more money than Kirk Cousins? A man who was expected to get a massive payday by a team desperate for QB help now will be lucky to find a guaranteed starting job at the NFL level. He proved it once again by reverting to his sucky rookie form against a Giants team that just stopped giving a fuck. Jay Gruden is apparently safe in his job. I have no idea why personally. For the Giants, on the other hand, it's time to begin clearing out the wreckage of this season. Dave Gettleman, the guy who was screwed over by the Panthers in a power play maneuver, was hired as GM and immediately identified the main issue as a shitty offensive line. Some scrub named Bobby Hart told coaches he wasn't going to play and was immediately kicked to the curb. The pylon known as Eric Flowers was benched. What you are hearing is incredible joy from Giants fans. This is only the beginning, New York. You have a lot of work to do. Two live-action disasters on display in a showing of pure shit on a football field. Both teams' seasons were mercifully put to an end as the Colts managed to win for the first time in what seems to be an age. It should come with an asterisk because the Texans are so beat up they could be mistaken for a Pee-wee team. In fact, it gets even better for Indy. Chuck Pagano has finally been put on his ass and fired for being inept at his job. Only happened 16 games too late. I have a feeling that Irsay is going to fuck this up again, though. This is truly a must-win game for the Steelers. Not for playoff implications or because of pride, it's for the glory of 0-16. It is almost in sight. Unfortunately, the Steelers are resting their starters because, I don't know. Now we have to deal with Landry Jones. The issue for the Steelers wasn't offense today, it was defense. The secondary was frightfully bad, picked to the goddamn bone by Deshaun goddamn Kaiser. They are playing down to their competition once again. The Browns are pushing down the field and can win despite shooting themselves in the foot for every toe they have. If Pittsburgh fails us, I will never forgive them for it.
Corey Coleman in the backfield. Kaiser under pressure. Somehow escapes. Kaiser's pass is incomplete.
That is one of the most Cleveland ways to end a game I have ever seen. Holy shit, they are trash. Nuke the organization from orbit. But for now, it's time for celebration.
You did it, Cleveland! 0-15!
It's your greatest accomplishment since returning to the league. I'm so proud of you guys. Wait, you're keeping Hugh Jackson? This can't get any more laughable. All rise for testimony from the new book of Garoppolo, a man who has earned himself millions of dollars by taking a shit team and giving them the most momentum out of anyone in the league. You may say it was against a Rams squad that was resting their starters, but I counter by saying it's Jimmy goddamn Garoppolo. There are no excuses needed. Now, I will seriously laugh my ass off if San Fran manages to fuck this up. Kansas City has nothing to play for, so why not bring in the first-round pick and Pat Mahomes to make his NFL debut? The Broncos have all but given up, and Vance Joseph's job may be in jeopardy, but it's still a decent D. Mahomes was, didn't do anything special, but didn't piss himself either. At the end of the day, it was a turnover fest that ended with a Chiefs victory. The Andy Reid show may still be going strong, but it's been proven repeatedly that the Vance Joseph hiring was a total mistake from the beginning. Maybe they atone for their disaster, for the sake of Broncos fans? They aren't? Damn it. Look, kids, Jameis Winston is throwing interceptions ad nauseum yet again. What an incredible sight to see. The Saints should make mincemeat of the Bucs in their final game of the season. I mean, just look at this fumble by Ted Ginn to lead to a Tampa Bay touchdown. See how Jameis slings the ball on the final drive and won the game. Wait, Tampa Bay won? The fuck? How did the Saints give up 18 points to them in the fourth quarter? God damn it, now the Panthers can win the division. And god damn it, Dirk is still here. For those of you that completely sucked this year, thanks for playing. The participation trophies are in the closet to your left. Now it's time to see the games with actual playoff implications. The NFC playoff picture is easy to decipher. The Seahawks need a win and an Atlanta loss to make it to January. The Falcons just need to win and they're in the playoffs. You can manage that without choking again, right? It doesn't matter at all. The Seahawks kept up with their massive underachieving over the past few weeks and were embarrassed at home by Arizona of all teams. Arizona, a team that may be more injured and flawed than you, a team that was celebrating what may be Bruce Arians' last game as coach. Seattle managed to make it interesting because, well, it's the Cardinals, but this is where an ironic twist of fate comes into play. You remember that time when you won a playoff game because Blair Walsh completely whiffed on a gimme shot? Boys, it's your turn now. Yes, let's bring in the kicker that we witnessed have his confidence destroyed. That won't hurt us in the long run. Good news is that it did. You've missed the playoffs. Honestly, it's a good thing. This team was garbage and would have been obliterated by the Rams again anyway. You know I'm right, 12s. Even if Atlanta choked, it wouldn't have mattered because Seattle lost. Atlanta is in the playoffs by default. Goatsy Stadium may remain clenched, but you can breathe a sigh of relief. This time, it was the Panthers that commenced the choking. Former MVP winner Cam Newton reverted to early season form and became a turnover machine yet again. The Falcons are carried to Los Angeles on the back of old man Matt Bryant. Carolina had a chance to clinch their division and they pissed it away. Now they have to run off to New Orleans for a division showdown next week. So who's going to fuck this one up? On the other hand, the AFC is rather complicated. Baltimore and Tennessee's goals are simple. Win and you're in. Tennessee is garbage though, so maybe harder than it seems. The Chargers need to win and the Titans and Bills to lose to make it in. Buffalo needs to win with Tennessee, Baltimore, and/or the Chargers to lose, and several Christmas miracles to make the playoffs. Perhaps they can happen. In what could be considered a surprise move, Doug Marrone is not resting the Jags starters, even though they have nothing to play for. The reasoning for them was to gain momentum for the postseason. They did deliver said momentum to the other team, repeatedly. Jacksonville completely shit the bed today with an inept offense and embarrassing displays of team play. What the fuck happened here? Did all of that hashtag Saxonville hype get to your heads? You may be what I feared you were. Fool's gold. AFC contenders? Fuck, you might not even make it out of the first round. And even worse, the Titans have made the playoffs. incredibly undeserved. It's a tough test for the Chargers, a home game at StubHub Center filled to the brim with Raiders fans. Even with the odds stacked against them, the Chargers kept up appearances and emphasized the incredibly disappointing season for the Raiders with a blowout. Oakland, what should have been a year where you were competing for the AFC crown, became a disaster in many ways more than one, and it has cost Jack Del Rio his job, a much-deserved firing if there was one. Now they shoot for John Gruden. Oh god, the Raiders have learned nothing. Even though the Chargers have won, there is good news for us. They're out on tiebreaker. They've missed the playoffs.
Fuck you, Spanos, fuck you, Spanos, fuck you, Spanos in the ass. Fight for LA is disastrous. We push back to San Diego.
Miami is attempting to play spoiler in what could very well be Jay Cutler's final game. Buffalo took care of business easily as the Dolphins were hilariously undisciplined and came up short once again. Miami is back to reality as they were knocked out cold after a surprise playoff appearance. Now the Bills wait. Baltimore, what in the literal fuck is this? You're in a gimme situation where you win and you're in, and you've gone back to the politically correct offense you had earlier in the season. Nothing inspires confidence in a team like an elite quarterback going 4 for his first 17 passes. The Ravens are going to completely blow this game, aren't they? That's where you're wrong. The Bengals once again bungled and blew yet another lead with defensive collapses and offensive ineptitude. It's quite fitting, the team collapsing like this in what could well be Marvin Lewis's final game. Your assholes can be unclenched, Ravens. Playoffs are at hand. All you have to do is stop them on this final drive and you're what the fuck are you doing, Baltimore? Ravens, seriously, you can stop pretending to make this game competitive. Guys, what's going on? You've got the game won, just stop! Okay, they're down to their final play. Just stop them here and...
It's complete! Caught by Boyd! Tyler Boyd! Touchdown!
Holy butt fucking Christ! You fucking blew it!
You bungled this game so much that Marvin Lewis is cringing in disgust. Somewhere Art Modell's grave is being pissed on and Yinzers everywhere are jerking off to your failure. The Ravens were a shoo-in and they made Cincinnati's misery look like a bad day. This is where being in a division with Cleveland kills you. Baltimore has missed the playoffs via tiebreaker. Hey, Mr. Harbaugh, perhaps instead of whining about the game time, you could prepare your team to hold a fucking lead. Heads need to roll. The staff deserves the Gerard Gallant treatment. Throw their asses onto the street for this failure. It won't happen, though. Baltimore is too classy. Go fuck yourselves. Elite QB my black ass. So if Baltimore is out, that means... Oh my god, it happened. The Bills have made the playoffs. The walking mediocrity. We'll be playing postseason football for the first time in this millennium. We have witnessed history once again. Buffalo will have something to look forward to besides shitloads of snow and broken tables. This is a special day. Bengals, you have done something good in this world for once. Now go get yourselves a new coach and overhaul that you extended Marvin Lewis. You extended Marvin Lewis. I don't even need to mock this in any way. It does it to itself. The Bengals extended Marvin Lewis. Can Mike Brown fucking die already? Like, please, did he see the shit show in Cleveland and get jealous of it? In what world does someone think that Marvin Lewis was doing a good job? The Bengals got the last bungle after all. Fuck this team. Before we wrap things up, it's time for another lol cow of the week. Eli Apple, he of terrible cornerback play and toxic personality. It started earlier in the week when Landon Collins went on radio and publicly called him a cancer. A bit harsh, he has family issues, you may say. Collins apologized for his remarks, but here's where irony comes into play. Eli Apple actually is a cancer. It starts small, respecting the professionalism of journalists by openly saying he's going to defecate just like he does to Giants fans every week. Then the shitstorm erupts. He openly disrupts team practice and openly argues with coaches because he refuses to go on scout team. Turns out Mama also gave him a massive ego to go with his suckitude. The other Eli is immediately benched for the game and his Giants career is all but over. Somewhere 5 points is doing cartwheels over this revelation. Enjoy the unemployment line, Eli. And thus ends another allegedly exhilarating season of NFL football. The 2017 campaign has closed its doors with hope for about 5 franchises in the playoffs. I'm personally glad you can come along for the ride with me, be it for a week or for the entire season. I don't know if I'll do this sort of thing again, mainly because there were times I felt like I hit a wall in terms of writing and I don't want it to get stale, but I have no regrets whatsoever beginning what I thought would be a bi-monthly experiment. I want to thank the NFL for having such an easy league to mock and lampoon. I want to thank SeatGeek for sponsoring this material for the latter half of the season, and most importantly, I want to thank you, the viewer. You are the fuel that helps keep this shitposting machine running, and it's because of your response to this content that this became a weekly occurrence. Now on to other endeavors in the sports realm. See you all for the Haters Guide.
And number 20 ends up in a collision and a fumble and a pickup by Yannick Ngakoue. Ngakoue down the sideline for the touchdown.